So we take a look at your test review. Um, take a look at the first section. We're going to use the following points, so point A and B, to answer 1, 2, and 3. So we're using these 2 points to find these 3 questions. To find slope, we have to use a slope formula. What is the formula for slope?
I think you have to have this memorized.
Yep, have to have it memorized. Ben?
y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus y.
Good. We are in our test review from Friday.
Let's get that out Friday.
Well, label your points. And you're not going to give them formulas. You have to memorize it. x1, y1, x2, y2. When we plug those values in, what's our top going to look like? Yeah, -5 minus 3. y2 minus y1. What's our bottom going to look like? Minus 1. x2 minus x1. Clean it up. What's -5 minus 3? -8. What's 7 minus 1? And what does that simplify down to? -8 over -6 simplifies down to? Calculator, you're plugging it in, using your nines. Ah, thank you, sorry. What does it simplify down to? Huh? Stop. Find the slope. Use the slope formula. Alright. We just did this on those notes. How do we find the midpoint? Yeah, very good. Add your x's. Divide by 2. Add your y's. Divide by 2. Clean it up. What's 1 plus 7? 8. 2. What's 3 plus -5? 2. Over 2. Alright, 8 over 2 simplifies down to 4. -2 over 2 simplifies down to -1. There's your midpoint. Questions over that? Right. For 3, we need to find the distance. Now, if you prefer the distance formula, you have it memorized, you like it, so you know Pythagorean theorem, go for it on this type of question. We're going to use Pythagorean theorem, though, because you don't have to have it. You aren't given the distance formula, so you have to have it memorized. So, Pythagorean theorem, you're good. So go ahead, plot your points. 1, 3, and 7, -5. We're using the Pythagorean theorem to find distance, so what shape do we have to make? The triangle. It doesn't matter how you orient your triangle. You can go down and over, up and over. It doesn't matter. Just make a right triangle. The slanted line, the distance we're trying to find, always our C. We're finding those legs. So what is the distance if we count of this side? What do we get? 8. What is the distance of this bottom side? 6. Okay, just plug those into your Pythagorean theorem. So it would be 8 squared plus 6 squared equals C squared. What is 8 squared? 64. What's 6 squared? And 64 plus 36 is 100. What do you have to do to both sides? Square root. Square root of 100 is 10. So the distance of that segment is 10 units. Some of you maybe realized it was a P-trip. Totally fine. You just have to use that as your explanation. If you were like, hey, that's a P-trip, It's 10. Great. Say it is a p-trip. So we don't think you just pulled a number out of thin air and happened to be the right answer. Have some sort of explanation. So your work is your explanation, or if it's a p-trip, just say 10 because it's a p-trip. That way we know. But you know what to do. Right? Questions over that one? Right. Take a look at 4. We want to determine algebraically, not graphically, because you can't graph them and determine, because algebraically, if A, B, and C, D are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Again, we talked about this in the notes. To determine if something's parallel, perpendicular, or neither, what do we have to look at, or what do we have to find? Slope. Right. That slope formula. Right next.
Oh, my next one. All right, here we go. This one. All right, number 4. If A and B are parallel, perpendicular, neither. Fantastic. So what do we need to look? What do we look? I don't know what he said, but what are we analyzing here? The slope. So we need to find those slopes of those points. Again, be very careful of what points we're matching up. We said A and B. These are the guys that are going together. This guy and this guy. Well, let's label our points. Let's find the slope of that one. X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Go ahead, put them in that slope formula. All right? Do the y's first. So it's going to be what minus what? 3 minus what? -4. We'll clean that up in a second. The other one's going to be 4 minus 1. Let's find the slope. And we're finding AB first. Sorry, I didn't write that. AB is what we're looking for right here. Well, what happens at the top? What's 3 minus -4? What? 7. Because remember, this turns into a positive. So it's 7 over 4 minus 1 gives me a 3. All right, fantastic. Can 7 over 3 reduce? No, it can't. A little some decimal. We'll leave it like that. It's not reducing fractions. So the next one we're going to look at is our C and our D. These guys. Again, label them. And it doesn't matter how you label them. I know sometimes if they flip the order, this one happens to be A, B, C, D. You see something happens to the other one. But just be consistent. If I call that X1, call that Y1. X2, Y2. That's all you got to do. If you have D first, it doesn't matter. It's going to turn out to be the same thing. So we're looking at DC. Or CD, sorry, I wrote it the other way. It doesn't matter. So my Y2 value is? Y2 value is? Oh, 3. Thank you. Ooh. Fell down up here. My Y1 value is? -4 once again. Huh. Okay. Let's do the X's now. It is a what? So it's X2? 0 minus -3. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and reduce once again. Minus a negative, you know that turns positive. 3 plus 4 is 7. Again, make sure you have that minus in there. Minus a negative makes a positive, turns into a 3. What do you notice about their slopes? They're the same, which makes them parallel. So very good. So
I've had you for a memory trick with a double negative equals a positive.
there's a little. What you saying?
What? Just sort of like, take the 2 negatives and then the 2 slashes, combine together to make a plus.
You're right. That's a good one there. You're saying 2, put them together, make a plus sign. Great way of remembering it. Number 5. This is the same exact thing. We're analyzing these points. Different points, same thing. Matching up A and B. You have to be careful with what number 5. What's you have to do to be careful. They're not in order, so don't get in the habit of saying, oh, these 2 go together, those 2 go together. Match them up. So the first one is AB. Well, here's B, here's A. Those 2 go together. So make sure we're doing that one first. Or you can do CD, doesn't matter, but just make sure you're finding where they're at. X1, Y1, X2, that's an X, Y2. And we plug them in just like we did before. If you did yours differently, if you are the stickler and have to go A first, B second, it doesn't matter. You'll see that you'll get the same answer. My y2 is still a negative 4 minus. Put that minus always behind. My y1 value is a 2 over x2 value over here on the right is a 3. Still put that minus behind there. My x1 value happens to be a 5. See. Negative 4 minus 2 does give me a negative 6. I agree. 3 minus 5. It's going to be another negative. Negative 2. All right. Well, that's going to reduce down because I know 2 goes into 6. But how many times does 2 go into 6? 3 times. What happens, kind of like what Jason was saying earlier, what happens when I have a negative over a negative? It turns to a positive. Put those guys together, it gives me a positive. You guys said 3, so it in fact is a positive 3. If you want to put in 3 over 1, go right ahead. Doesn't matter, but this is the more appropriate answer there. Now, go to the next one. We have CD. You can see it doesn't matter. Label your points. Again, we're still seeing people not labeling your points, and you make careless mistakes because it's tough to keep track of all these points. So we said CD, match them up. Y2 is negative 2, minus, put that minus behind there. Y1 is a negative 1. If you like to go ahead and make that positive for your sake, go for it. We just want to show you where it's at. Now we do x2 is 2, put a minus there, negative 1. Okay. Double check my work there. All right, here we go. So we know this is going to be turned into a positive at this point. What is a negative 2 plus 1? Negative 1. And over here, what's going to happen on this one? 2 plus 1 is 3. So let's look at these two slopes. Again, that's not going to reduce anything. Look at those two slopes. What can we say about those two slopes? Are they exactly the same? No, they're not parallel. So what are they? Jacob? Perpendicular, he says, and I would agree. Why are they perpendicular? They're flipped, and what else? One more thing. Opposite signs. So we can now say that these are perpendicular. Perpendicular. Question with those, really easy analyzing slope. Just make sure your points are in the correct area. Ready, set, go. Boom, 6.
Yeah. We look at number 6. To determine the equation of a line that is parallel to the line where equals 1/4 x minus 12 and passes through the point negative 3, 4. Okay, well, when I talked about it, what do we know about parallel lines? They have the same what? Slope. Okay? So we know the slope of our new line is going to be what? What's the slope of our first line? 1/4. So the slope of our new line is going to be 1/4. They're the same. Okay? We want to write equation of a line. That's what we want our answer to be. We write equations of lines of y equals mx plus b form. Well, we know our m. We just said it's 1/4. Do they give us our b? Do they give us the y-intercept of our new line? No. So that means we have to find it. What do we have to do in order to find it? Lexia? Very good. Plug this point in for x and y, and plug in your slope, and you can find b. 4 goes in for y, 1/4 goes in for your slope, negative 3 goes in for your x plus b. You solve. What's 1/4 times negative 3? You solve your calculator. 4 times negative 3. What does that give us? Negative 3/4. Plus b. Alright. How do we solve for b? Well, how are we going to move this over? How do we solve for b? Negative 3/4 is negative. Yeah? Very good. You add it to both sides. Negative is the opposite. We're going to add it. That makes it canceled. And we are left with b is equal to what? What's 4 plus 3/4? As a fraction. You are right. What is it as a fraction?
Math error.
What is it? 19 over 4. Okay, that's our B. That's not our final answer though, because remember, we want an equation. So we had our M. The problem was we didn't have our B, but we just found it. So you can take 19 over 4 and plug it in there. So what's our equation of our line going to look like? Cat? That's what we wanted. Okay. If you had a graphing calculator, more updated one, you could have plugged it in as 4 plus. If you alpha y equals, enter, 3 over 4. Gives you 19 over 4. If you don't have a more updated calculator, you do 4 plus, put in parentheses, 3 divided by 4, close parentheses, enter, gives you a decimal. If you do math, enter, changes it to a fraction for you. If you have our calculators, you have to do 4 plus, you have to hit 3, then ABC, then 4, then enter. Questions?